Welcome in 5 minutes with Sean, maybe 10 exciting times, my friends. We are here at the end of January. I hope it has been a great month for you all. That is what we're always looking for here. Even though I know things are a little bit more difficult, I understand that. We're seeing it for sure, but we're going to keep fighting because that's what the car business does, plain and simple. Now, today I want to talk about data arguments. Now, what I mean by this is when you use data as a reason to do something and then conveniently shift what it looks like when you're done using it for that purpose, right? It's like convenience data, and it's pretty annoying to me. Recently, we had a cancellation come across to us, and it was canceled based on a specific metric not growing. Okay? I mean, look, that's fine. I don't really care, but here's my problem with it, right? When I look at that, here's what I'll tell you. I see that the metric was being impeded by other sources other than our work, okay? And so when that happened, this is on the social side of things. That's why I got my rep in my social hat today, because it struck me, right? This is not necessarily, it's not my department. Yeah, they work under our company's umbrella, but it's run by the great Jeff Hunter. And so it's his department. So this comes across and I see the email and I'm like, well, what the fuck? Well, how did we not move the needle here? So we inspect, we talk, we look, right? So this is what it comes down to, a math equation, not a difficult math equation at all. Okay. So the data point, let's just call it engagement rate. Okay. The engagement rate metric hadn't moved in concert with what the client had expected. Understandable. Let's look and see why. Now, our team posting 10 to 12 times a month. Okay. That's 10 to 12. So we'll write that down here, 10 to 12. Then there's an OEM garbage shooter. Okay, whoever company they use, I don't know who it is, and frankly, I don't really care. They're shooting out another 20 a month. Okay, so let's just take us at 10, them at 20 to get us to 30. Math still, right? We're still using math. I know it's not a great word these days, math and science, but here on this show, we still do love them. So with math, we're doing 10, they're doing 20. Of 30, that's 2/3 to 1/3. Yeah? Good. So engagement rate is based on data collected, number of posts, right? And number of engagements. Those numbers come together and give us the engagement rate. If, again, math is math, if the majority of the engagement is coming from the 1/3, and the lack of engagement, because it's corporatized bullshit that no one cares about, is the 2/3. How is it that we don't see the math equation that if we eliminated the 2/3, brought the garbage down, and we pushed up the 1/3 where everyone's engaging, this here, that would equal huge engagement rate growth? I was told no. Okay, so it's difficult to argue. I was saying this to my buddy Josh. It's difficult to argue with people when they want to argue about data, but then either don't know how to interpret it or are using it, as I stated earlier, in a convenience method. Because that doesn't do any of us any good to use data when it is convenient for us, which honestly, I think that was the most aggravating thing about the cancellation was like, hey, oh, good, didn't move the number, sorry, gonna cancel. Okay, so everything else is good. You need the help, that's good. You like what's being posted, that's good. But the engagement rate's a hang-up. Now, as a car guy, I like to come back and say, understandable. Is there a way to maybe potentially give you more posts or reduce your bill in line with expectation, right? I met with crickets. which again is fine. It's my job to try and save business for this company. That's my job. It's anyone's job who sells anything to get in there, dig in, and see if there's a way to save business. This company will not go away because of that deal. It's not how we're built. So, and I don't want to use the term I don't care, because I care deeply about my department, the people who work here, and the clients we work with. I care deeply. So that's not it. But what is it? And what is continually it for me is that at the end of the day, I see us as support. I see us as people doing things that other people weren't doing. And when I watch people make investment in product, whether it's mine or anyone else's, and they give it a 3-month, 6-month window, when maybe it needed a 9 to 12-month window, and they make that cancellation like in that opening window, ostensibly what you've done is you've wasted the months previous leading up to this. And I know it sounds like a sales pitch, but in the world of marketing, it's more than that. It's a fucking reality. It's how it operates long term. You've got to build something up, and then it hits sort of a point that it just tips over and keeps running. But if people don't wait to get to that point, if people aren't looking at that point, then what they'll find is a lack of real follow through. That's how I'll say it. That's the nicest way that I can say it. Because it's a waste of money, it's poor planning, it's tough. Because, I get it. Financially, you don't want to keep spending the same if you're not seeing the results. And we talk with clients every single day about this. So this is not new news to me. However, if you don't stop and really look at the data and study the data and understand exactly as if it's the lifeblood of the conversation, then it becomes difficult for people to actually see the value in data. I have a great client I've worked with forever. He refers to the internet as gray matter. It is a bunch of gray matter that just cannot be proven. To some extent, he is completely right. To other extents, there are ways through the data that I can show what worked, what didn't. Now, as it relates to selling cars, I can use the same data to say it. You had 150 showed appointments. You sold 50 cars. What the fuck happened to the other 100? But instead, people go, well, I paid too much cost per click and I don't like my cost per lead. We're stepping over dimes to pick up nickels. Why? Why still are we doing shit like that? I don't get it. But all I'd ask of people is if you're going to have a data argument, then please bring the facts, because that's all data should be for the most part. There's a little bit of, nuance. Sure. I've been looking at data for 20 fucking years, so I get it. But at the end of the day, this should be fairly black and white as to yes, no, did it or did it not. And that's what I would ask people to take a further inspection upon when they're looking at data, when they're looking at providers, when they're looking at output, throughput. Have a look at real data and don't use it when it's convenient. Use it all the time. All right? That, my friends, is the 5 minutes with Sean, maybe 10 for January. That's our last one. We'll see you back next week. We're going to kick off February, a little bit of a mental health Monday for everyone else as we get started on that. Beautiful, beautiful February. Thank you so much. Have yourselves a great week.